Thank you for Patreon now for donating to the Patreon. Hey guys, Vandy, so back in another feature card buddy fight deck profile. So if you enjoyed them, like, subscribe, and start, shall we? This time we're covering Purgatory Knights Reborn, a deck that I used to be fascinated by because I really like the concept of Purgatory Knights being able to multi-attack and destroy your own stuff and then get like that center attack thing. I don't know why, I thought that was like really revolutionary, just like killing the center while you already have an item. It was very different from the Gal formation version of it where you just bounce the thing. So yeah, Purgatory Knights Reborn, I could say I liked the concept of it. And then that would be like a half lie, it would be a half truth, it would be a half lie. Let's go ahead and get this started though, and you'll kind of see what I mean. Anyways, the Illuminized chant I made for this deck, because why the hell not have a Illuminized chant for it, is the light of hope has illuminated the dark path of the fallen knights. Return to honor and glory, O great warriors. Illuminized Purgatory Knights Reborn. I was so tempted to steal Tsukuri Renju's Illuminized line, except when I saw it, I was like, fuck that. So let's go ahead and get this started, shall we? First up, we have our flag in Darkness Dragon World. Obviously, it's going to be Darkness Dragon World. Why would it not be Darkness Dragon World? We could, in theory, use Dragon Eye and Dragon's Vi, but no to Dragon's Vi because then we're locked into only monsters. And then Dragon Eye, I just don't like having 4 hand cards in my opening hand. It seems to be like the. Oh wait, no, Dragon Eye's the one with 6. Oh no, it isn't. It's the one with 4. Yeah, I don't fucking like having 4 opening hand. Then we have our buddy Atonement Purgatory Knights leader Orcus Sword Dragon. So Orcus Sword, the good version of Demios? Question mark? Or like the evolved, non-evil, non-fucked up version of Demios? Whatever. Point is, size 2, 7k base, 1,000 defense, critical of 2. Call cost, pay 1 gauge and put the top card of your deck into your soul. If another armor dragon on your field would be destroyed and would be put into the drop zone, you may put into this card's soul and counteract. You may destroy another armor dragon on your field. If you do stand this card, then if it's your attack phase, draw a card, and then has move, double attack, and soul guard. So that's the main point of this deck right there. That whole second skill, basically, just nuke your stuff, restand this boy, get that hand card to replace it, and then do a bunch of skills off it. Because when you destroy your armor dragons, they go immediately under him, meaning he has more soul to use. He already has double attack, so at the very least he's attacking twice. Followed by, if you get your normal board, you're probably attacking, what, 2 more times with the other 2 monsters, so 4, plus him nuking those 2 and attacking again, so 6, plus your possible items, so 7 attacks in total, all around pretty good. And he has move, meaning you can use those new soul cards you acquired to move him to the center to be defensive during your opponent's turn, and he has the soul guard from all those people that he killed but going under him. All around, Orcus Sword is a pretty good monster. I like him as my buddy. I like him more than the one that was released from the anime because that's a hefty call cost in my opinion, and I don't like it. So, you know, good on Orcus, 4 in the main deck, and then 1 as our buddy, because why the hell not? Then we have 4 copies of Purgatory Knights Reborn Needle Claw Dragon. Size 0, 1,000 power, 1,000 defense, critical of 1, 1/1/1 right there. During the attack phase, when this card is destroyed by card effects, put the top 2 cards of your deck into your gauge, gain 2 life. So bonus is, it doesn't have to be by your card effects, which means if your opponent destroys it because maybe you're attacking with it and they're about to die from it and they blow it up, well, you're getting a free 2 gauge and 2 life. But, you know, again, you can just nuke it via Demiurge. I mean, not Demiurge, fuck, what the fuck is Demiurge? Orcus Sword. Get the 2 gauge, get the 2 life, restand this boy, and this card goes under it. And the reason why you want to do that is because the size 2 or greater armor dragon with this card in its soul gets plus 5k power, penetrate, and its soul cannot be dropped by your opponent's card effects. So you get soul that can only be gotten rid of by destruction, and he gets more power, so he's at 12k now, and he has penetrate, which means he can do damage if the opponent has a center. All around, really good. Like, that's why Purgatory Knights Reborns are pretty good, because while they are destroyed, they go to the soul of your monster, not only providing more defense for you, but also giving more benefits to that monster, meaning it is far more deadly than normal. So yeah, Needle Claw is definitely one of my favorites. If it dies, it basically gets you a resource for pretty much everything, refills your life, gets you more attacking power. Why not run out of 4? Because it also does the soul defense, which is really good, especially in Buddy Fight, where a bunch of cards have the ability to drop soul. Then we have 4 copies of Purgatory Knights Reborn Crossbow Dragon, so grade size 0, 2k power, 1k defense, critical of 1. When this card is destroyed by card effects, put the top card of your deck into your gauge, and the armor dragon with this card in its soul gets plus 2k power and 2k defense. So it does stack, so if you have 4 of these in the soul, same with this one by the way, so if you have 4 of them in the soul, this thing will, assuming you put it on this one, this thing will have 9,000 defense and 15,000 power, which is all around a pretty good stat with a double attack, and he gets a gauge. I do recommend running a decent amount of size 0s in your Purgatory Knights deck, because you want to do as much attack fast as possible. And like I said, I think I said it was 7, right? And to do that, you need a size 2, a size 1, a size 0, and an item. Obviously, the size 0s are like the best ones to come by because they can work on the board regardless of what size of things you have. So if you want to tuck in a size 3 in this deck, that would be perfectly fine because then you can just run size 0s around it. All around, Crossbow is pretty good. I do prefer Needle Claw, and yet for some reason, Crossbow is the one I see the most. So 4 up to him. Then move on to our size 1s. 3 copies of Purgatory Knight's Grudge Arrow Dragon. So he's a part of this multi-attack loop where if you don't get the successful part of it, or like you don't get all of it, he'll end up getting the last part for you, hopefully. So 3,000 power, 1,000 defense, critical of 2. When this card is destroyed by your card effects, or any card effects for that matter, put up to 1 item from your deck into your hand and shuffle your deck. And then if you do not have an item equipped, you may equip an item from your hand by paying its equip cost. So all around, this is a pretty good card. If you see this in your hand and an item, you have the rest of your setup like a size 0 and either this or the other Orcus sword, then obviously you want to charge the item because then you can call this boy, use Orcus, kill this boy during the battle phase, and then get your item, meaning basically you got free charge fodder. And that can be the case anyways, where if you already have an item equipped, you can still kill this guy, and then now you have free charge fodder for the item you already have, or discard fodder if you have to end up discarding something. All around, Grudge is really nice. If you don't have an item, he basically sets you up for the perfect combos. He sets you up for like the rest of the game, basically, because an item is really important to have in this deck. So yeah, all around a good level 1. I mean, not fuck, god damn it, I can't focus now. All around a good size 1. I like him a lot. He's good. 3 of. Then we have 4 copies of Purgatory Knight's Reborn Holy Grebe Dragon. So, size 1, 3,000 power, 1,000 defense, critical of 2. This card cannot be called to center. Cool. So, Orcus is going right to the left, or right, because you don't want to call him to center, because remember, he's the one with move, and he's the one that's going to keep restanding, the one that's only going to stay on the board. And this can only go to the right at that point, or the left, depending on where you put Orcus, which means the size 0 obviously has to go in the center. So, during the attack phase, when this card is destroyed by card effects, draw a card. Cool. So you combine them with Orcus over here, you get 2 draws and you get to stand him. By the way, remember, he works outside of the battle phase. It just works better in the battle phase. So all around, pretty good, pretty good, pretty good. And then the Armor Dragon with this card and soul gets counterattack. So let's just say you have 1 of each at this point. This boy has 14,000 power, 5 from this, 2 from this, has 3,000 defense, not a lot. Very much not a lot. A lot of size 0s can beat over that. Actually, I think our own size 0s... Oh, wait. Okay, no, they can't. If they link attack, they could. And he also has counterattack. So all around, pretty good stats, because even if his defense is lower, if his attack is higher than the monster that's attacking him, he can at least counterattack and blow it up. So all around, really nice. Adds a little bit more defensive value to our Orcus boy, so why not run Grebe at 4? Then we have 4 copies of Purgatory Knight's Reborn Silver Staff Dragon. So size 1, 5k power, 1k defense, critical of 1. When this card is destroyed by card effects, you gain a life. Cool. So Orcus is just going to slowly but surely give you more life from this boy, and the Armor Dragon with this card and soul gets Penetrate. Okay, pretty good, pretty good. I like that. Being able to do a little bit more extra damage is really nice, because now he has a little bit more capabilities, except the worst thing is, if you have Needle Claw, you already have Penetrate, so like... Needle Claw is just a better version of this, basically, but might as well run more of them to get more life points and get more Penetrate, because a lot of ace decks can burn out a lot of your life points in one go if you catch them at drift. A lot of them can just cut away. There's the impact card that can literally just do 12 damage. I mean, technically it's 1 damage 12 times, but you get the point. So, 4 of Silver Staff. Nice level, nice size 1. Good card. 4 of, if you want to, you can replace this with like that one Darkness Dragon Road Purgatory Knight's card that's like every time your other card's destroyed, restand him. I forgot if he's a once per turn or not, but like if he's not a once per turn, it's really good. If it is a once per turn, then yeah, Silver Staff is still better. So 4 of Silver Staff all around. Then we move on to our size 2s. 3 copies of Purgatory Knight's Liberator Orcus Sword Dragon. So basically the OG Orcus Sword, and the one that was revealed in the anime. Size 2, 7,000 power, 4,000 defense, critical of 2. Call cost, put up to 1 Armor Dragon from your drop zone into its soul and pay 2 life. Okay, so you get a soul from drop, but you're paying 2 life. That is not a cost, in my opinion, worth it. Like, this one at least guarantees you a soul, and it doesn't cost you 2 life. Like, even if this was your buddy, that's still 1 life you have to pay just to call this thing. This isn't freaking, Omni Lords where you want to take damage. This is Purgatory Knights that have nothing to do with taking damage, but okay, sure, fuck it, Orcus Sword. And he has the same ability as this other version. If another Armor Dragon on your field is destroyed, it would be put into the drop zone. You may put it into this card's soul instead, so all around pretty good. And then counteract during your attack phase, you may destroy another Armor Dragon on your field. If you do stand this card, move and soul guard. So all around, stat-wise, this is better, because while they do have the same attack and the same crit, this one has 4k defense compared to 1k defense, but this one is all around better. Why? It's a gauge. Granted, this one's free in terms of gauge, but like, again, doesn't guarantee a soul, costs 2 life. doesn't cost life, guarantees a soul, kind of cost a gauge, but that's fine. And his ability is not restricted to the battle phase. It does better in the battle phase because you get a free draw out of it, but doesn't need to be restricted to the battle phase. So if your opponent like happens to rest this during your main phase, you could just stand him instead of waiting to the battle phase for every reason. All around, Orcus Sword is just a good card. This one's fine. Like, you run it for backup just in case because it's better than running Demio. So 3 of Orcus Sword Dragon. He does something and he'll at least get stat buffs from these guys. And then 4 of our buddy, obviously, because you always want to run 4 of your buddy. Because why the hell not? Why else would you make the card your buddy? Except just to have it there. Then we move on to our spells. We have 2 copies of Life Dwells in the Flames of Hades 2. God, I love the names of these cards just because they're so funny to read out loud. I think Hero World and like some of the edgier cards just have the funnier names because it's like they're talking to someone. So you melee cast this card when you're dealt damage on your opponent's turn. Counter, draw a card, and if you have a monster with Purgatory Knights and its card name on your field, draw another card. So basically just a draw 2, because most of the time you're always going to have a monster with Purgatory Knights on your board. That's pretty good. If they deal you damage, you just get to keep drawing. It's not on once per turn, so if you have multiple, you can just keep drawing until you get your nullifies at some point. So around, it's a good card. You don't want to run too many of it because it's so restricted to the opponent dealing you damage. And like I said before, a lot of decks can burn you out, or not burn you out, but like kill you in a few seconds. So yeah, having too many of it is kind of a little bit bricky, but having too little, you won't be able to see it. But 2 copies I seem to see fairly often, so I'm cool with keeping it at 2. I also like its art. Just look at this, the Purgatory Knight. That's also why I like this deck. I just like looking at the Purgatory Knight in terms of card arts. I don't like looking at him at the anime. In the anime, he looks a little bit too bulky, but in the card arts, no, he looks pretty cool. Then we have Purgatory Knights Forever. So, pay one gauge and take 1 damage. Okay, so they specify take a damage. So this was meant to be used with Omni Lords, or to be specific 5th Omnis, because 5th Omnis are the only ones that say take a damage. They meant for this to be used with 5th Omnis, I can tell. So put up to 2 monsters with Purgatory Knights and this card name from your drop zone into your hand. That is so good. By the way, because they said Reborn doesn't mean they don't count as Purgatory Knights, which means all these Reborn boys count as regular Purgatory Knights, by the way. So you just get your entire, or not your entire drop zone, but like the 2 most important cards back. So if you've lost either of your Orcuses, you get them back. You get back another one of your size 1s or size 0s to combo with it, and all for the cost of a gauge and a life. That is so good. Especially if you've seen Needle Claw, that is essentially free. So run this out of 3 of. It like recycles your drop zone. So in the case where like your opponent overwhelmed your defense but you're still going, Purgatory Knights Forever will definitely fix that. Also, I love this art. Again, I say Purgatory Knight looks really cool in card arts. I love how he draws his cards, and I love how Demio Sword is just right behind him and it looks so realistic. Yeah, fuck yeah, 3 copies of this spell. It's really good. Don't not run it. Then we have 3 copies of a card I find interesting in terms of arts. We Transverse the Blood-Soaked Demonic Path. Okay, that's the one name I don't like from this deck. I find it funny how long it is, but I just don't like it. So, you may cast this card during attack on the opponent's turn. If you don't have a monster in your center, cool, so just don't move Orcus. Counter, nullify the attack, and if you have a card Purgatory Knights and its card name in your drop zone, gain a gauge. Okay, the chance of that not happening is very doubtful. And it says card with Purgatory Knights in its drop zone. So, you know, if any of the spells happen to have it, I don't think any of the spells do have it, but if the spells had it, you could loop it back. If there's an impact that had it, you could loop it back. There's monsters that have it, items that have it. You just get a free Purgatory Knights card. Or, no, sorry. You don't get a free Purgatory Knights card. You just get a gauge out of it, but that's still pretty good. Get you a gauge, allows you to set up for this, maybe. All around, Retransverse the Blood-Soaked Demonic Path is still a good card. Plus, it's a nullify, and nullifies can be helpful because you don't want to just move Orcus to the center and have him die right in front of your eyes and have to rely on this to loop him back. So, all around, decent card. I like it a lot. 3 of. Then we have 4 copies of Pride to the Sword. The Blade Never Dies. Okay, that's a name I actually like. So it's a dual nation card. Oh wait, yeah, so is this. Oh wait, no, it wasn't. I always think this is dual world because like it has Darkness Dragon World on one side and has Dragon World on the other, but this isn't actually a dual world card. I always get that confused. This is a dual world card, however. Dragon World and Darkness Dragon World. It feels more like a Dragon World card because you can see more like the Dragon World background in it than Darkness Dragon World, but whatever. Anyways, spell, you may only cast this card during an attack on your opponent's turn if you have an Armor Dragon on your board. Okay, so inherently it's better than this because you don't have to have a center, or you can't have a center. Counter, nullify the attack, then you may destroy a card with Purgatory Knights and its card name on your field, and if you do, gain 2 life and deal 2 damage to your opponent. I forgot what that card was called. I believe it's called Purgatory Flame that resides within the body. It's like one of the first Purgatory spells released in Buddy Fight, where when you're being attacked, I think it was, I don't remember the exact cost of it, but basically, I think it was destroy a Purgatory Knights on your board, deal 2 damage to the opponent, and nullify the attack, or like deal damage equal to that monster's critical, whatever. Yeah, the Blade Never Dies, if you can't tell, is meant to be a better version of it, especially because, like, I think on that card, probably Demios was featured on it. As you can see, it's Orcus featured on it. So not only do you still nullify the attack, yes, you can destroy Purgatory Knights, and again, Soul Guard will go off, so you're still destroying it, but it gets to stay on the board. And you not only gain 2 life, so basically you nullify another attack, because a lot of cards basically have 2 critical, so technically it's nullifying 2 attacks, but you're also dealing 2 damage to the opponent. This could possibly kill them. And again, you can have a center doing this. So all around, prior to the sword, the Blade Never Dies. Good name, good skill. Why not run out of 4 of it? There's literally no reason to. It costs nothing to do so. If you don't run out of 4, you're crazy. Then we move on to our set spell. 4 copies of Crush That Body and Sustain Mind. Why not? Like, one of my most favorite buddy fights from the entirety of the anime was Tasuku versus Gao, Purgatory Knight version, obviously, and it was double impact. Spoiler to anyone who hasn't seen it, but it's been out for years now, so if you have seen it, you most likely have seen it, but if you haven't seen it, click off the video right now so you don't, I'll spoil it for you. But Roaring Slash going to a Punisher going off against Distortion Punisher, and both players somehow surviving the impact. I thought that was really cool. I do think the ending of that fight was a little bit anticlimactic compared to just double impact, but whatever. Double impact was fine enough. I just feel like the ending, as expected as it was just a little bit anticlimactic compared to double impacting people to death. So anyways, when a monster with Purgatory Knights and card ammo on your field is destroyed by an effect, whether it's by yours or your opponent, gain a gauge. For some reason, this isn't once per turn. Just saying. Meaning that, you know, Orcus over here could just, keep restanding, or like if the more monsters you have on your board, he can keep restanding, you can keep getting gauge. Basically, this just gets you gauge for your impact. Because the only other thing in this deck that costs gauge to my memory, except the item, is this. So, this, the impact, and your item are the only things that cost gauge, and this essentially just gets it for free each time you do your deck's main gimmick. Cool. You get one of these on the board, you're immediately winning. And if your life would become 0 somehow, put this card into your drop zone and mill the top card of your deck. If it's a spell, your life becomes 2. It does count itself if you see a copy of it, and you mill it like 1 on the board. It doesn't fucking matter. No, at no point in Darkness Dragon World was gauge gonna be an issue if you saw one of these. Like, 2 of them would not have broken. It was guaranteed, like, you were gonna be able to do everything that game, regardless of its cost. Seeing one of these already basically guarantees you the win, but whatever. Or it doesn't guarantee you the win, but, like, guarantees you the aggressive win at least. So, all around pretty good. Has a nice revival effect, except, you know, some decks say that you can't revive at 2, but it doesn't revive you. Makes your life become 2. I don't think that counts as reviving. Maybe it does. I don't remember the wording of revival cards. Point is, yeah, it's a good card. It like switches your life back to 2. It gets you a gauge. All around nice set spell. Supports the deck really well. 4 of. Then we have our item in Purgatory Knights Reborn Sword, Expia Sword. So, here's my thing with this. I don't like this sword, and it's only because of how it looks. I like its ability, I don't like its looks. The sword I really do like is Demios' sword, where when your monster is destroyed, you get to draw a card and someone gets +3. The reason why I'm not running that is because I don't remember why I don't run that. I remember I built this deck a while ago, back when Buddy Fight was still dead, by the way, but I don't remember why I didn't run it. I guess it was because, like, I didn't have the space for it. So yeah, anyways, Expia Sword over here, item 7k power, 2 critical. God damn, that is tied for the strongest card on this deck with Demios, Orcus. God damn it. So anyways, equip cost, pay a gauge in a life. Kill this thing during your battle phase, and you essentially get to, I mean, you don't get to equip it for free, but you can equip it from decks. That's all around nice, so you don't always have to struggle to get this into hand. I feel a little bit bad now that you guys saw the last card in that deck. Hopefully none of you paused it. But anyways, when you equip this card, put up to 1 size 2 monster with Purgatory Knights card name from your deck into your hand and shuffle the deck. So, if your hand is shitty and you Brit, or like you're missing the final piece, like maybe you have the size 0, the size 1, but you don't have an Orcus, or you have an Orcus and a size 0, but you don't have a size 1, or you have a size 1 and an Orcus, but you don't have a size 0, or any combination of those, just by simply equipping this, you can fix that problem immediately. Cool. All around, that's really good. Oh, it has to be size 2, never mind, so if you just don't have an Orcus. Well, still good though. It gets you an Orcus. Why not have it? And then also all monsters Purgatory Knights in the card to get +3k. Cool. So, you know, considering a lot of your things are kind of like low powered, I mean, Grebe is I mean, Silver Staff is okay. Grebe is nah, and the rest of these are kind of like far in between. So the fact that their numbers get bigger is pretty good, because this is swinging for an 8k, this is swinging for a 6k, this is also swinging for 6k. These are swinging for 4 and 5k respectively, and then Orcus over here on his own is now swinging for 10k. So all around, that's pretty good. The item definitely helps out with the power gain against really defensive decks. The really defensive decks have high defensive power, but hey, at least that means your leak attacks are more likely to hit. And not to mention, it can at least search out Orcus just one of the Orcus or any other Purgatory Knight size 2. So, you know, worst case scenario, if your hand has no good charge fodder, but you have to charge anyways, and you see this item in your hand, and then you see Orcus, you know who to charge, because you're just going to get one of them out for free. So all around, Expia is a really good item. I like it a lot. Like I said, I'd rather have Demio's Sword, but there was room space, and this card is inherently better than Demio's Sword, unfortunately, so 4 of Expia. And then finally, we have our last card in the deck. In my mind, because this is Buddy Fight, you can't build a Buddy Fight deck more or less without having an impact card, because that was like the main point of the show. Spam impacts like there's no tomorrow. Go Distortion Punisher. Distortion Punisher was one of my favorite impacts, and this is also why I like the Purgatory Knight. I really loved the speech. What was it? Like, turn back the sands of time, erase all sadness from the past, go counter final, Distortion Punisher, like the most cool-ass voice ever, and if I wasn't so afraid of getting copyright struck for that, I would actually play it right now. But yeah, cool-ass impact. I don't like the art of it, because the art looks a little bit weird with his eyes, but I like the impact itself. So pay 4 gauge to cast this thing. You mainly cast this card and use one of its following abilities if your opponent has 4 life or less, and neither you or your opponent have a center monster. Cool. So either deal 4 damage to the opponent during your final phase, or counter final. During your opponent's final phase, you may use this ability when your opponent casts their own impact. Deal 4 damage. So, you could either kill them during their turn, kill them during your turn, or bait them, because maybe you just want to add insult to injury, or maybe you just got gauged this turn via this thing you were 1 gauge short last turn. They cast their impact because this is the only way to kill you. Boom! Counter final. You know the best thing about Distortion Punisher in my mind? To my memory, while yes, a lot of impacts and ace prevent you from reviving, I don't believe they stop you from countering them. Meaning that you can still use this if they have 4 or less life, and you'll still win because this will go off first. This is why I love Distortion Punisher. I've never been able to scream counter final because no one I know is really, well, I don't really play Buddy Fight that much against people anymore, and even when I did, not a lot of people ran impacts, or like, even if they did, they would never see them, so I would never get to counter final someone, but I wait for the day where I can counter final and scream counter final Distortion Punisher, because why the fuck not? Yeah, 4 of. And that's it for the deck. I hope you guys enjoyed. All around, Purgatory Knights are interesting to me. I like the gimmick of them being able to kill your own stuff and getting multi-attack out of it. I like Orcus as a thing. I just find it a little weird how just the gauge and life consistency works on this, but whatever. All around, it's a good deck. I like it a lot. It can still hold its own against some maze decks if you get the right opening, but otherwise it kind of dies in them. But if you play against decks that aren't pretty much ace-built decks, you do pretty good. So yeah, take that as you will. Anyways, I'm gonna end it here. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, join the Discord, follow Twitch. I'll see you all next one. Don't forget to raise your flags.